Dear audience, welcome to the show, Rola TV show. Today we have honorable guest, Councilman Mr. John J. Grasso. Welcome to the show, Mr. John J. Grasso.
Thank you very much.
How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing just great.
My name is Rola, and you know this is Kashif. And ladies and gentlemen, and we are very in a hurry. We was in a hurry because Councilman Mr. John have a very short time. We have to go back to the meeting, so we have a few questions. So, sir, Kashif.
Yeah, Sir John, please tell us about yourself, your education, and your experiences. So, what exactly do you do? Do you do business, or you are a councilman? And in addition to councilman, do you do some business or some?
Yes. I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I mean, in the very beginnings, I've had not just one paper route. I've had 3 paper routes, and usually all my customers, I wind up cutting their grass and snow, and then I wound up getting myself into the restaurant industry. I worked for a catering company and worked my way up to what they call executive sous chef. At that point, I decided to go off to an aeronautical school and get my aircraft license for my A&P license, and I went to Teterboro School of Aeronautics, and then I went to Frederick Community College and got my other license over there. And then I went to Anne Arundel Community College to go work towards my engineering degree. Shortly at that point, I decided that I was making more money in the real estate and rental market, and I owned a few homes at that point, and then I started buying more property, and at that time I also got into the field of doing professional ice carvings. So at that point I had my rental business going, I had my ice carving business going, and then I got into the food business.
There you go.
Wound up becoming a wholesale distributor to a lot of the restaurants. So eventually I'm always evaluating my life to see which way makes me the most money. Am I spinning my wheels? And soon to realize that the real estate market was making the money for me in property management. So I sold off the food business, and I stopped doing the ice carvings, and I focused on the rental property business. And between that and I own also a lead inspection company, those 2 businesses keep me going, and the councilman position is an answer to a point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yeah, I have a question. When you thought and you was thinking you need to become a counselor, how you jump in the politics?
Well, what happened was about 20 years ago when I was 24, I was going to turn 25. I was tired of seeing how bad the environment was being treated. I lived on the waterways, and I decided to run for the county executive race. I was a Republican running, and believe it or not, I tried to land the Republican primary, and I lost it by 19 votes.
Oh.
So then about 20-some years went by. I built a successful business. I had some money behind me, and my friend Tom Gardner come to me, and he kept bugging me and says, you know, we need somebody that's going to go in there, that's not in there for the money, that's going to fix the problems, and you need to do this. And he bugged me for a year. And at that point I said, all right, I'm going to get in there and do it. So with my charge card in hand and a big-hearted conviction, I went door to door and started banging on people's doors and setting the dream of what I wanted to accomplish as a councilman.
So you got those 19 after that?
Yeah, you got that right. A lot more.
Please tell our audience that who is a councilman and what's the process to become a councilman?
Well, the councilman, you know, it's interesting because I go to the country of Ghana all the time, and I try to explain to them what a councilman is. Really, a councilman is like a chief. We're like a chief of 75,000 people, and there's 7 councilmen in Anne Arundel County, so I'm a chief of 75,000. As far as the procedure to become a councilman, you got to get people behind you. You got to go out, you got to sell the dream. You file an application to run the political office. You get a treasurer who's going to monitor the money that's separate from you touching it. And you don't necessarily need a campaign manager, but it's always good to have a campaign manager. And then you get out there and you start banging on doors.
There we go.
And you tell people, you know, what you're about and what's the dream that you're going to set.
So basically you go door to door and ask people that you're going to help them.
That's exactly right. I had a game plan. I told people that the issues I was going to work on is, you know, I had like 5 nice shiny glossy papers, and I'd go up to them and I did what I called a 5-minute BP. I said, hello, my name's John Grasso. I would like to be your councilman. And I said, I'm going to hit you with 5 things like in school when I say, what do you think of the superintendent making $257,000 a year? And people say, what? I said, that's how I feel about things. and then I would turn around and I say something, how do you feel about, taxes and everything going up? That's how I feel about things.
Yeah.
So, and Mr. John, please tell our audience what's the first thing a city councilman must do in order to get this.
I mean, your duties.
Your duties and responsibilities.
Well, the councilman is part of the legislative body. So really, and our whole purpose is to actually make laws, try to make things better. I don't consider myself a politician. I like to say the word, I'm a statesman. And the big difference is that I don't hold my role to making laws. I get my shorts on and my tennis shoes on, and I physically go out in the neighborhoods and I work the neighborhood.
Amazing.
Yes.
It's a great deed that you do.
Yeah, go out there, I'm putting fountains on the waterways to stop all the dead fish and crabs from dying. Councilmen don't do that stuff. I go work at the landfills to encourage people to recycle, to show people why it's important, why the county needs the money, how it helps. So I do things that basically a county executive would do, but I do it in my district and District 2. So I'm like a mini county executive.
So this is the mentality of a great person. So it's not an ordinary thing. It's a great thing that you're doing with, for the people. Yeah, that's one of the key things is that I've shed tears with a lot of people. And when you go out and you campaign, you get to meet people and you get to feel the pain that they're feeling. And then when you make decisions, you start to think about, hey, how am I going to affect that lady who I met? How am I going to affect that guy? And they're the decisions that you start to make. And that's why it's important to get out and campaign, knock door to door, and tell people.
All right, sir. Tell me something. How is your job, and do you satisfy on your job? And if you're not satisfied, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I am completely satisfied in the work that I'm doing. There's no doubt about it. One of the things that I told the people is that to prove that I'm not in it for the money, that I was going to give my salary back. And as a councilman, I get $1,100 every 2 weeks. So I've been using that money and giving it back to the people. I've used it in purchasing fountains to put them on the waterways for the aeration. I've gave a couple $1,000s back to the Anne Arundel County Action Agency, which helps homeless children. I gave $1,000 to the support network. I gave $1,000 to Anne Arundel County North Library. I gave $2,000 to the alarmers that support the firefighters. So I'm constantly giving back the money. So I'm completely satisfied in the work that I've done.
That's a very big thing, because mostly job is coming.
That's exactly right.
So it's very hard to give you one job you done and then another is in the road.
That's exactly right.
What made you think and decide that you wanted to be a counselor? And what age was that when you decided to become a counselor?
Well, it's just I've always been one of these type of guys that my dad used to say to me, if you have a mountain in front of you, okay, are you going to keep looking at it, or is someone going to pick the shovel up and start moving the dirt? And I've always been that my whole life. Ever since my dad used to tell me that, I was never one to keep looking at the mountain. I always decided that I'm not going to look at it, I'm going to pick the shovel up and start moving the dirt. And I just,
You just started.
Yeah, well, interesting. 2 years ago, I was having dreams that I was in a suit signing something behind a table. And I never understood what it was, because as a property manager, I'm in blue jeans and a t-shirt. So I couldn't understand, why am I always in a suit signing something? And I said to my wife, earlier, I said, I got a feeling this was my calling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And here I am in a suit. I'm not signing nothing.
Yeah. Parents are great people in our lives.
Right.
Yep.
So, Nazreen, we need a little short break. So we'll be back and we'll talk a little more with Mr. John, Councilman, with us today. We're lucky. So we get a little short break, please.
Don't go away.
Right on? Right. Oh shit, you hit my nose, man. Easy, yeah, you're gonna call you, but
I don't want to be called, John.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
Like a light bulb.
And if you ever saw it,
2012. Right, very positive messages.
yeah.
Okay, welcome back, audience. Today we are with the Honorable Councilman, Sir John J. Grasso. So today we have delicious pakoras for our honorable guest, Mr. John. So, Sir John, please tell us about something about your personal life. So, after getting off of your office, when you go home, so what are your activities? What will you'll do to refresh yourself?
About kids and
kids, you play sports or jogging or what?
One of the things I do is that I just, to refresh myself, I just enjoy getting in the community. So I look for any kind of affairs that we have in the county as far as parties at the parks, fundraiser events, any of that kind of stuff. I like getting out there and talking to the people. That to me is very enjoyable. And I also, you know, even though you might say, well, do you ever stop being a councilman? No, I don't. I'll get on my pickup truck and I'll start going door to door just to talk to people and say what's new, just to have a conversation. Because I don't want people to say that I just came by for a vote one time. They're not going to get away with that. So I come by, see them 2 or 3 times and say, hey, remember me? They can never say that I was just by for a vote. As far as like recreational things, you know, I have a pretty decent sized boat, and I also have a boat that's called a Cray Cat. And it's kind of like 2 pontoons with an outside motor, and I take my wife and we play the little stereo system when we buzz up and down the creek, you know, or we'll go out into the bay and we'll ride the waves. And it also gives me a chance to go out and look at the fountains and see how the fountains are going. So we'll do that. I also got a bunch of Mustang 70 Mach 1 classic cars that we'll hop in the car and we'll go drive throughout the county in different areas.
That means you're doing job and also home activities.
You got it. I blend it all together. When I go to the mountains, I have a bunch of motorbikes. We'll ride the trail bikes. We'll go up to the mountains. So just everything.
Yeah, Mr. Grasso, who is your role model in politics? Who is your role model?
You know, it's interesting enough because in the political arena, I don't really have one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because in my personal lives, none of them fit my bill. Wow. And that's why I'm completely different than the rest of them.
Yeah, one can tell.
Yeah, I'm giving my money back.
You're just like
That's good enough.
You're just like us. You're just like common man.
That's right. I don't want people to say I'm in it, because I personally think that you should do this job for free. That's just the way I feel about it. You're doing public service. And I believe in what they call the good karma. When you treat people good, then it comes back to you. You know what I mean? And that's just my deal.
Is anything possible I can do for community?
Sure you can. One of the biggest things is you can mobilize people and go around and talk to them about cleaning up their neighborhoods, storm drains and things like that feed into the waterways would be a real big important issue. Get the trash out of the storm drains. Go around and talk to your neighbors about recycling is a very nice issue right there. Environmental issues are very important to me because I think the environment is a big issue.
All right, so this is today our message. So this is the message for today for the people.
The message for the people is recycle more, protect the environment, because if there is no environment, nothing else really matters.
There you go. Mr. Kashif, can you tell in your language so people can share their views too?
Yes. या ऑडियंस प्लीज अपनी तरफ से पूरी कोशिश करें कि अपना जो माहौल है वो साफ रखें, हवा को साफ रखें, आलूदगी ना होने दें, और इस तरह ये होगा कि आपकी सेहत भी अच्छी रहेगी, आपको ऑक्सीजन, साफ ऑक्सीजन मिलेगी, तो आप बीमार भी नहीं होंगे।
राइट, दूसरे पर्सन जो है वो डिस्टर्ब नहीं होंगे।
बिल्कुल नहीं होंगे, और इसलिए अपने माहौल को साफ रखें।
Very good. So Nazreen, thank you very much for the time, and Sir John, I appreciate your time.
Oh, you are very welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Very welcome.
We appreciate your time.
Absolutely. I thank you guys for coming down and giving me your time.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Have a blessed day.